Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi initiated the special Vande Mataram discussion in the Lok Sabha, used the occasion to deliver a sharp political attack on the Congress, invoking historical references from the freedom struggle to the emergency. Marking 150 years of the national song, PM detailed how Vande Mataram became a powerful unifying force during British rule and accused the Congress of repeatedly insulting and compromising on it. Modi recalled how the British had launched their divide and rule strategy from Bengal, believing that breaking Bengal would weaken the entire nation. He said Vande Mataram, emerging from the same state, stood like a rock against the colonial plan and became a clarion call for unity. PM also cited Jawaharlal Nehru's correspondence with Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose to allege that Nehru believed Vande Mataram could incite Muslims. Slamming the Congress over its historical decisions, Prime Minister said that the national song was partitioned first before the country was divided, accusing the party of surrendering before the Muslim League. He further said that when Vande Mataram completed 100 years, the constitution was choked under the emergency imposed by the Congress government. Now, if you look at some of the top quotes where he's slammed the Congress, then he says that there is no leadership and opposition here. We are to appreciate and accept the debt of Vande Mataram collectively. It united the nation from north to south, from east to west, and the time has come to unite again and move together. But at the same time, he indulges in Nehru bashing. He says that Congress knelt before the Muslim League, and it was a grave injustice to Vande Mataram as a song. Joining me this evening is renowned historian Mridula Mukherjee. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining. And my first question to you is that why do you think that the government is holding this discussion on a song which is 150 years old?
Well, the answer is very simple. As with everything else, the only thing that this government does is to politicize issues and to use every opportunity for sectarian political gain. Sometimes I don't think that they have a sense of national purpose. The idea, what is good for the nation? What do we need now? Do we need a discussion on what's going on? Thousands of people are sitting at the airports. Indigo has virtually crashed. There's been this terrible tragedy in Goa. The Delhi pollution is killing all of us. I mean, there's a list. We are somewhere below Sub-Sahara in the hunger index. And all we can do is rake up false controversies about a song which is accepted as a national song, not national anthem, but accepted as a national song by the Constitution, by the Parliament, by the people of India. Nobody is objecting to it. You are now raising a controversy by saying an issue that was dead and buried, an issue on which the tallest leaders of the freedom mind. And I want to remind you that when these objections came to the singing of all the stanzas of the Vande Mataram, the matter was taken up at the highest level, and so much so that Rabindranath Tagore was consulted by the Congress party, the highest leaders of the Congress party, and he gave his considered opinion that yes, indeed, there are stanzas which can be objected to by those who do not believe in Hinduism, because there is a clear invocation of goddess Durga. And you are paying obeisance to her. And if you are not a Hindu and if you are not a Durga believer, actually, you have every right to say, I don't want to say this. And there is enough in the song. The first stanzas are there, which are non-sectarian, non-denominational in character, which everybody can sing and there's no problem. And the matter was solved for so many years. Right? And Gandhiji himself, I want to bring this in because Gandhiji weighed in on this. Gandhiji gave his clear-cut opinion. We have it on record. In 1939, a meeting was held in Wardha, a meeting of the Congress Working Committee, where Gandhiji's opinion is recorded. He says nobody should be forced to do say anything which offends them. And he said, I am sorry, we are coming upon evil days. This song is now being projected as a Hindu song. That is not the way. So what I'm saying is, so it's not a question of criticizing Jawaharlal Nehru. Then you must also say that Mahatma Gandhi was wrong. Have the courage to tell the people that Mahatma Gandhi was wrong and you are right today.
No, but in fact,
Why
Mridula
only
ma'am,
Nehru? Why only
no,
Nehru?
right. Mridula ma'am, Prime Minister Modi also quoted Mahatma Gandhi, what he wrote in one of the African editions. He said that he had said that Vande Mataram had become so popular that that should have been made the national anthem. He quoted Mahatma Gandhi and said this. So, what did he mean by this?
No, I don't. I mean, there may be a comment by Gandhiji earlier on, and everybody accepts that the Vande Mataram was a very evocative song, that it energized people, nobody's denying that. The issue here is very simply that there are various parts to the song, and there are certain clear cut parts in which there is a clear cut mention of a Hindu goddess and the name of Durga is taken. All right. Now, in Bengal, as you know, Durga is a revered deity. We have the Durga Puja. We all know about it every year before the Sera. And it was also remember that this was a Bengali book. Anand Mach was written as a Bengali book in which this song appears for the first time, where though it was a poem was earlier. Actually, there are a lot of complexities to Anand Mat and to the history of the Vande Mataram itself, which historians have talked about. And if you want, we can go into that. But I don't think that's the pertinent point. I think the pertinent point is that certain sections of the population who do not feel comfortable with invoking a Hindu goddess, but they love the song, they want to sing it, they're happy to sing it, you know, why do you have to force something down people's throat which doesn't match with their religious beliefs? That's what secularism is about. Indian
Right.
secularism is about not hurting other people's sentiments.
Hmm.
And I'm
But
saying
Mridula
again,
ma'am,
if you think this is only a Nehruvian thing, sorry, more than Nehru, it is Gandhi ji who taught us that we have to respect the sentiments of all sections of the people. Hindu Muslim unity was made a item of the Congress program by Gandhiji in 1920 when he first took over the reins of the Congress. Anti-untouchability and Hindu Muslim unity, two things he brought in new into the Congress. No? So let's not forget that. We know he was an apostle of Hindu Muslim unity. So if you want to accuse anybody of appeasement, then it should be Gandhiji. I don't think anybody appeased, not in a bad way, but in a good way. You know,
no,
different
but,
sections, including Muslims,
Mridula
as
ma'am,
much as Gandhiji did, for the sake
right.
of the unity of the nation.
Mridula ma'am, I really want to ask you that what does Prime Minister Modi mean when he says that in on 26th of October, Congress Working Committee also did an analysis of the Vande Mataram song, and ultimately Congress knelt before the Muslim League and they divided the song. They removed certain portions of the song, and which is why he kept on saying that it was Nehru who knelt before the Muslim League.
You know, this is all, as you know, this is rhetoric. You know, as I have said, it was not Nehru's personal decision. When we are talking about the Congress Working Committee, let us remember that there were stalwarts in the Congress Working Committee. There used to be 20 members. Among them would be Rajendra Prasad, among them would be Sardar Patel, among them would be Maulana Azad. Gandhiji himself was present, Subhash Bose, you know. So the people will have differences of opinion, and that's fair enough. Firstly, nobody devalued the national song and its importance. right? It is, and what is also very hypocritical is who made this a national song? The Congress. For the first time in the late 1890s, I think 96 or 98, 1896 or 1898, Rabindranath Tagore himself sang Vande Mataram at a Congress session. Right. Janagana Mana was also first sang at a Congress session in 1911 after the reversal of the partition of Bengal. So this entire history, and now you want to turn around and say Congress did this and Nehru did this, they divided the song and thereby divided the people, submitted to the Muslim League. I'm sorry. It is not just the Muslim League. Yes, Muslim League did. Muslim League was also a communal party, like unfortunately some of our present regimes, and they also wanted to exploit every fissure. Now, what does a secular party do? A secular party tries to take away whatever could be a genuine grievance, right? Which will be shared by the ordinary or common Muslim. It may be raised by the Muslim League, but there is a letter from Rajendra Prasad in which he writes to Sardar Patel and says that yes, large number of Muslims are having difficulty with this song. We have to do something. Now, do you want to alienate the Muslims and not keep them with you in the struggle for freedom and thereby let the British win their game of divide and rule?
No,
Right?
but ma'am, do you think that Prime Minister was trying to send out a message to the Hindus in Bengal with this 150 years of Vande Mataram discussion? Is it a political message for the West Bengal Hindu voters?
Well, partly yes, it is very much, as we know in this country now, everything is for the next election, even if it is a provincial election. All that we do is go from one election to another and try and bring up issues which will divide the people, which will polarize the people. But you know what? I think it is a bit myopic, short-sighted to think you want to pit Rabindranath Tagore against Bankim. What do you want to do? After all, I'm telling you, the decision on this was taken on the expert advice of Rabindranath Tagore. Because after all, don't forget that it's a very Sanskritized Bengali in which this song is written, you know? And who better can advise you after going through the whole thing as to he gave a considered opinion? And are you going to now say that Tagore was wrong? And mind you, let's also remember that Bankim didn't write it as a nationalist song.
Hmm.
He wrote the poem, then he included it in his book. And there is a whole story about how the character of that book also undergoes changes. I
Yes.
mean, it is said that in the beginning, the emphasis was more on the anti British struggle of the Sannyasi rebellion. And because Bankim himself was a government servant, he was a deputy magistrate. And thereby and then he felt that, it was uncomfortable and maybe some pressure was put on him. So the tone of the book changed to anti Muslim. You know, fact of the matter is when the Sannyasi rebellion took place, about which Bankim is writing, actually the British East India Company was in power. I mean, the Nawab were there as titular heads, but they had no power. So it was they who, so Sannyasi rebellion was actually against the British,
Yeah.
you know. But even Tagore says that yes, there are things in the song which can be objected to by Muslims.
Yeah.
Now, now Tagore, you cannot accuse him, one, he's not a politician, right? You know, he's not in mainstream national politics. He's a scholar, he's a philosopher, he's a poet. He's above all this, So, and he's a literature, he understands the meanings. So, I would say that it is quite, I think it would be quite something for the BJP to now pit Tagore against Bankim. And the
No, no,
Bengalis
it
have to
looks like
choose
it.
between the
Oh,
two.
Mridla ma'am, today we heard a new phrase altogether कि वंदे मातरम के टुकड़े टुकड़े कर दिए कांग्रेस ने. This is what he said. वंदे मातरम के टुकड़े टुकड़े कर दिए. Means Vande
Ha.
Mataram has been broken into
It's very
pieces.
easy
So
to say. It's very easy to do this. I mean, so yes. So you took part of the song and made it into a national song. And you're not banning people from singing the rest of the song. Those who want to sing can sing. Those who don't want to sing can not sing. What is there about it? This is no nationalism. Nationalism, see, this appropriation of other people's heroes, other people's, what shall I say, other people's songs, other people's history, which is what they're trying to do all the time. They
Right.
tried to say that Subhash Bose was an ancestor of theirs. You think people are fooled? Subhash Bose was known for his secularism. In fact, even Gandhiji and Jawaharlal Nehru, when he came back from the INA, though they disagreed with his methods, but even Gandhiji said that what he has done in terms of achieving unity between different communities in the INA, getting Hindus, Muslims, Christians, everyone to fight together
Right.
without any distinction. It's a real achievement. So Bose was a very sturdy secular person. How are you trying to appropriate him? Similarly, Sardar Patel. Either you're trying to show that, and only Nehru is always the villain. So there is one big grand villain, you know, and everybody else is Nehru is appeasing. So Nehru was so powerful. My question also is, so what was Gandhiji doing in all this? Was
Hmm.
Gandhiji a weak, powerless person?
Hmm.
What's going on? I mean, this is
Right.
this is ridiculous. I mean,
No, but Mridula ma'am,
these are very
now
important issues.
right. But if you look at the whole discussion in entirety, now, of course, all the opposition leaders are also coming back with lots of facts. Various Congress leaders have started tweeting on the social media that, this is this is distortion of the facts and selectively picking out certain things for their own political convenience. How would you look at this discussion? Because BJP has been saying and saying it for many months that the younger generations should know about what Vande Mataram is all about. So this particular discussion is for the younger generations to remember the power and energy of Vande Mataram.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, as I said, the rhetoric. Some time back they said younger generation must know what happened in the partition days, and they came up with this commemorating the horrors of partition. I mean, is this how you interpret our history? Not in terms of saying that dividing people is a bad thing, and we should learn as to what are the things that we should not do by which people get divided. You want to now rake up in such a way that it leads to further polarization. I think my main question and comment and criticism is a party which wants to project itself and calls itself a nationalist party, right? Their whole emphasis is to prove that they are nationalists and more nationalists than everyone else. Well, I'm sorry, but the first thing a nationalist party has to do is unite the people of India.
Right.
And by alienating a very substantial minority, which is 200 million people at least, are you going to achieve national unity? Do you think by suppression, by bulldozing, by frightening, by threatening, or buying over, you are going to be able to do this? No. You can only do it if you have a genuinely inclusive policy at the national and at the local levels where people
Absolutely.
belonging to all denominations feel comfortable, feel equal citizens. And this goes for Christians as well. Tomorrow, the controversy can be on some missionary
Yeah.
issue. They are converting Christians, they are doing this. Nilu, the point here is not Hindu, Muslim. It's whether your aim is to unite people or is it to divide people for what? For political purposes to come to power. What worries me is there seems to be a single point agenda, which is to retain power and expand your power base. And everything else is just grist to that bill.
Absolutely.
All political parties want power. Fine. But there are other things they have to do after getting the power. They have to run the country. They have to keep
Absolutely.
the people united. They have to think of the welfare of the people, you know, burning issues of the day. IMF has told you that your data, they now consider C grade. It's a bloody slap on our face. We had the most sophisticated statistical organization set up by no less a person than Mahalanobis himself. We were proud of it. You know, people from other parts of the world came to learn from us. And these are the things we should be worrying about. You know,
Absolutely.
what about what's happening on the tariff issue with the Americans? Let's
Yeah,
worry
in
about
fact,
that.
no, Megha ma'am, a lot of people have written things on the social media today that you have a aviation mess which is playing out in the entire country. A pollution problem is there. So many issues are there to be discussed, but we are having a 10 hours discussion on Vande Mataram, which actually is making no sense at this point of time. So my last question, Mridula ma'am, to you is that do you think that this discussion is going to help the country in any way? Or is it only going to be helping BJP, or is it going to backfire for BJP if they have trained all their guns on West Bengal elections?
Yeah, I know. I think so. I think it also shows a certain desperation. You know, we've seen it in earlier elections also. When things start to get a little tough for them, you will find their fallback option, their default option is always to polarize further. So whether it is talking about what clothes people wear and how you can make out people from their clothes, or whether they will steal your buffalo, and they will steal your Mangal Sutra. I mean, you can come down to ridiculous things like this in order to polarize people and to frighten people.
Right.
So, we've been there before. It's
Yeah,
not new. And West Bengal is a tough call for them. We know that. Mamata
absolutely.
holds the position quite strong. It's not easy to shake her. So there is a desperation. So one can, yes, understand why this is happening. But as I
Yeah,
said, it's risky to try to pit Bankim against Tagore or Tagore against Bankim. I think you
yeah.
need to know a little more of the Bengali sentiment to be able to,
Right.
before you think you
Absolutely.
can get away with this one, you know?
Absolutely. And I hope BJP doesn't end up exposing itself more and exposing its ignorance about pitting Bankim against Rabindranath Tagore. Thank you so much, Mrila ma'am, for joining on the Federal. Thank you so much. Thank you.